Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about getting started with both To Be Mindset and Portion Fix. I'm going to go To Be Mindset first because I find a little less complicated. And then we can go into Portion Fix and talk about some of the details there. So first and foremost, you have to decide what your goal is, right? So we want to be as specific as possible. If weight loss is your goal, then, attach a number to it, maybe attach what you want weight loss to look like, right? What that feels like, looks like. When we say, I want to lose weight and gain muscle, those two are opposite things, right? So those are both great things to have happen, but it is tricky to be in a calorie deficit and actually gain muscle mass, right? You can get stronger. You can use the muscles you have and you can utilize those muscles. So you can definitely get stronger while you're in a weight loss mode. But to actually put on muscle mass, lean muscle mass, takes at least maintenance and most of the time a surplus. Okay. So it kind of depends on where you're starting from. So we really want to tie down like what the goal is. And that's how we're going to then take that and pick our program. So I had sent out a quiz to my group this week about figuring out what, nutrition plan lined up best with the way they eat. And it's just a quick guideline if you want to take it. It's a great quick little quiz. And it really is based off of kind of what kind of eater you are. If you like to volume eat, how you feel about vegetables. I'm trying to think of the other questions on there. Portion sizing. So it'll give you just a quick indication, but I really feel like no matter what plan you go with, you really can't go wrong because you're going to learn something off of both of these plans. And you can easily have results off both of these plans. Now you may get into a plan and feel like this isn't exactly how I want to do the rest of my life. And that's totally fine. But it's one of those things where you will for sure learn something. So I don't want anybody to have any angst about like, if I pick the wrong plan, because there really isn't a wrong at this point. Both are very well nutritionally based, science-based. They just have different ways of getting there. So let's talk about To Be Mindset. Most of the time people use To Be Mindset for weight loss. It is a program that's designed so that you don't have to exercise at the same time. It's not looking for you to burn a bunch of calories along with your nutrition plan. You certainly can work out, and those are considered bonus, calorie burns. But it is definitely based off of losing weight from your nutrition, which is truly how you lose weight anyway, right? You must be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. So the thing about To Be Mindset that I think is really appealing to a lot of people is that it's somewhat free in the amount and your choices, because you can, while it's very veggie based, right? Because that's how you're getting a large volume of food with a small amount of calories. You can accessorize in different ways. So Alana likes to talk about accessories. So you can put some avocado on like a veggie taco, and whereas the Portion Fix, you're a little more restricted in the things you're tying together, the containers you're doing with certain meals, things like that. So To Be Mindset can fit a little bit better, I think, for families, or if you have picky eaters, because you can just do a bunch of veggies and then with regular meals that you're already making. So when you're thinking about it, I think sometimes people get a little bit hung up like, well, how much do I eat? And this is where the To Be Mindset really comes in, where you're really studying you, okay? You're looking at, when am I actually hungry? And what volumes of food, what did I eat? And I still lost weight, but I still felt satisfied. So this is where the tracking is really critical, because with your tracking, with your metrics, pairing those things up, you're going to see days where maybe you chose a veggie stir fry with a little bit of chicken, and that was your dinner, and you didn't have any carbs in that dinner, which is what she recommends. and you came out the next morning feeling really great. And that was like a really nice balance for you. Maybe you're going to go and see like your breakfast was bigger and it held you to lunch. And then when you were at lunch, that was big enough to hold you to dinner. So it took you through 3 meals versus it maybe if you're on portion fix, you might be having 4 to 6 meals. So it's one of those things where you're going to be like your best researcher. Okay. And there's going to be a little bit of trial and error. But really with introducing this many veggies into your meals, you should see results fairly quickly, right? It's one of those things where as soon as you start entering in veggies, replacing typical complex carb or carb calories, you're going to see a weight loss pretty quickly with it. So let's just really quick take any questions. Does anybody have any questions about 2B so far into this?
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I understand the whole concept of what 2B mindset and how, you know, like veggies most and all that kind of thing. So as far as measuring the food though, do you still like go a cup of vegetables, or do you just throw it on the plate and make it look full? I mean, what do you suggest?
Yeah, so you use the percentage. So let's take dinner, which is a 75% veggie, 25% protein. So, you know, if you put 3 cups of veggies on your plate, put a cup of protein.
Okay.
That's kind of an easy guess, right? You could, if you were used to using portion fix before, you could start with, you know, 3 greens and a red and see how that does for you. You might need a little more protein. If you're doing a workout with weights, you might need a little more protein. Okay. So these are things you have to kind of manage a bit. And I don't want it to say that to sound like it's going to be more complicated. The whole part of this program is really you figuring out when you're actually hungry, right? And more intuitive style eating so that you're not snacking out of boredom and you are fueling with good foods. And those meals are getting you to the next meal. So it's okay if you need to have some more breakfast to get you to lunch. There really doesn't need to be a snack in there. If any snacks happening, she kind of more talks about an afternoon snack versus anything. So that breakfast should be able to get you to a lunch. Lunch should get you to dinner. And that's how you're keeping a sequence so that you're not eating in between, right? It's kind of like the thoughts about IF. When you're doing intermittent fasting, you're only eating in a certain window. This is the same kind of thing. You're only eating 3 meals. So make those 3 meals enough to get you there. And I like to think when you're in weight loss mode, you're ready for your next meal. You're not famished, right? You're not like, I'm going to eat somebody's arm right now. But, and you're not like weak or low energy, but you're a little hungry. And at night, you're probably going to be a little hungry. And it's time to go to bed and then get your sleep in. I mean, that's part of weight loss. You're in a calorie deficit, but it's doable. So if you're in too much of a deficit, that's where you start feeling your energy levels wane. You may not be sleeping as well, especially if you're waking up in the middle of the night hungry or something like that. That's a big sign that, you know, things aren't going well during the day. Or if you get home in the afternoon or for dinner and you just feel like you want to just binge and take it all in, then that wasn't enough at lunchtime. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Can you say a little bit more about the snacking? I've been doing 2B for about a month and a half. So I'm new to all of this. And I've if I was hungry, I'd do a Shakeology, or if I have a cheese stick and an apple. I mean, I've have done snacks. Yeah. So that was a new piece of information that I don't feel like I really absorbed.
Well, I think they're still totally okay. And so I don't want to say it like as if Alana's goal herself is 3 meals. The snack is okay. But I would say you also want to make sure your meals are enough, right? Like you don't want to have a lot for a snack. So if it sounds like those are pretty minimal and it's just enough to kind of get you to the next meal. And so that sounds totally fine to me. I think
That-
sometimes, like, I know some people run in, like, I always run into an afternoon lull. If I'm not, especially if I haven't slept well the night before, right? Then I just want all the things. So you just don't want to be in a pattern of, you know, having to have a lot in that snack. Because, you know, lunch to dinner can be quite a ways too. So yeah, and it is a good place for Shakeology. That's always, and plus it's good, you know, if you have sugar cravings in the afternoon, Shakeology is a great thing during that time you're having a sugar craving.
I never have sugar cravings.
Stop lying.
You know I'm lying.
You're a reformed M&M-aholic.
No. Yeah, but I've switched to other things now.
See, even
I'm
Jess
just-
got a laughy face. in there.
Yes,
I'm
Jess
just-
even put the laughy face.
I'm just doomed. Is she laughing at me? I don't have my chat up.
I'm sure she's laughing with you. I'm sure she's laughing with you. Yeah, she'd never laugh at you.
I know. I'm just doomed.
I don't eat
Okay.
candy. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
I know, right? You divulge my secrets. Shame on you.
I wasn't going to tell on you.
I know. It's okay. All right.
It's so funny.
My name is Sue. I love sugar. Anyway.
Okay.
Sorry.
So when you're getting into this program, obviously watch the beginning videos, right? And I don't want to get into that kind of detail because it's so much there for you. And we'll quickly cover. So there's the videos on getting started, and then she has amazing videos on struggles, right? Common struggles that people have. And then if you have body, she has monthly office hours, and you can actually be on the Zoom if you have specific questions you want to ask her, or she's active in the To Be Mindset community too. So that there are also Zooms in there. And I think, Mel, you were going to go to a Zoom, right? Did you happen to get on one?
I never did. It conflicted with the work.
Oh, okay. Darn work. It's always
know.
getting in the way. So, you know, so she is available for those, you know, different things. And she talks with people who are going through the program, and they talk about different struggles. And then on here, we talk about different things. So if there's things that you're running into, or, you know, it might just be a little tweak that, you know, you just shift it and you're like, oh, that's so much better. Right. So all of those things are in place, which is amazing. I mean, the nutrition programs are so complete now. It's not just eat this food and do this, because we all know that our nutrition, you know, deals a lot with our mindset and a lot with how we think about food and how we react to food and how comforting we find food. So I think To Be Mindset is one of those great ones for, especially if you like comfort food is your thing, or food is comfort, I should say, because you can have the volume. There is the more sure model, right? So if you're not satisfied yet, then have some more veggies and then add a little protein, and, you know, have those things, add them in, and just keep monitoring, try it, track it, and see, right? And the biggest takeaway I want you to have, no matter what program you're doing, is it's like you're a scientist doing research on yourself. There is no room for judgment. There is no room for shame, guilt, none of it. Because if you don't track something, it still happened, right? Your body's still going to show it. It still was there, even though you didn't write it down. So just write it down. And it's okay to write it down and not feel great about something, but it's not okay to like not do it because you weren't feeling okay about it, or you didn't want to do it. That didn't really come out right. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you really just can't let the shame and guilt. This is all a learning process. And it's so important to this is like your time to learn about you and food. And if you look at it from a research point of view, like as if you were, you know, researching your best friend and how her eating habits are, that's you. You're just going to research yourself. Okay.
I know you're going to do the other program, however you want to parse time out.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear you talk about FFCs and fitting alcohol into a weight loss program.
Yeah. So I use FFC rules no matter what program, because I just think it's a good guideline. Because it really helps you look at the structure of the carb, right? So an FFC, fiber-filled carb, is a minimum of 1 gram of fiber per 10 grams of carbohydrates. And the more fiber, the better, right? So if that has 2 grams of fiber to 10 grams of carbs, well, that's a really great FFC. So next week, we're actually going to go through labels. Like we're going to go how to read labels, what to look for, and just kind of go through the basics of looking at things. Cause I think most of the time we're in the habit of looking on the front and seeing how natural and wonderful everything is. And we really need to turn it around and just see what the ingredients are. So, I eat a fair amount of brown rice, which actually is just kind of an okay FFC. It's on the food list. It's okay, but I got addicted to it during the ultimate reset with my seaweed and sesame mix. So I would recommend a whole wheat, if you're going to do pasta, whole wheat or bean. There's lots of options now, which is awesome. That's one thing that's really great. Like the market knows we want more nutrients in the foods, but there's also foods out there that look like they're going to have more nutrients, right? Like I had a customer send me a box the other day that was a veggie pasta. Well, the first ingredient was regular flour. Okay. And then it had some dried carrots and some dried stuff, but like there was no fiber in it. So whatever the dried things were, didn't have any fiber anyway. And it was just like regular pasta. But on the front, right, you'd think, oh, this is going to be amazing. It's like eating vegetables, but it's not. So with FFCs, and I use that when I'm looking for yellow container too. Like if you're doing portion fix and you're looking for a carb, just kind of use those general guidelines. Do you want to talk about like what things are good FFCs, or how do you want to?
If people have, like you were saying, you've been using a lot of brown rice and it's just okay.
Yeah.
What are people's go-to FFCs that have left them satisfied and were fulfilling and contributed to weight loss? Or
right.
I mean, I don't know. Do
you guys have some things that you like to eat?
Sweet potatoes.
That's a good one. That's very filling.
Mm-hmm.
Quinoa.
Baked sweet potatoes, not microwave sweet potatoes.
Right.
Yes, they're so sweet and so good.
Yeah. I like quinoa.
Yeah, quinoa's good too. Yeah.
I like farro. What'd you say, Kim?
Both of those are great. Yeah, I love those. Those are my 2 favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, dark chocolate is an FFC.
Oh, it is. Well, where have I been?
The ones I've been buying are, so.
Jess, tortilla chips. I may have had that today, considering that it is National Tortilla Chip Day.
I will say Kettle potato chips, there are some that are FFCs.
They are? No kidding.
Yeah, when they use the whole potato with the skin. Yeah, it's
nice.
Wow.
Okay.
So
I'm not going to say it's recommended. I'm just saying it's got to
be better than my Aldi, my Clancy brand, right?
Oh, so I'm looking at the list in the book because I only have a gazillion of these books floating around here.
Right.
And farina, which that's from right. So that's on here.
Yes.
And
but that is brown rice.
No,
it is, isn't it?
Typical farina, I think, is still wheat, but there is a brown rice farina too.
Okay.
Ah,
Well, yeah, I was making that myself, the brown rice farina cereal, because they stopped making it like a couple years ago during all the shutdowns. They just stopped putting it out, and I was in the middle of the reset. So we just started making our own.
Hey, Nikki.
Hi there. Sorry I'm late.
No
and then
worries.
of course all the fruits are on here as well.
Yeah. So that's a big difference too. Thank you for bringing that up, because
I forget about that.
Portion fix, you have a separate amount of fruit compared to other carbs. And in To Be Mindset, fruit is a carb. So obviously all the berries are amazing nutritionally, fiber wise, and they're exactly what you want. But those count as an FFC. So if you're having lunch and you have some salad and you put some berries on your salad, well, that's counting towards your 25%, of carbs, or for breakfast, if you're having fruit.
But is oatmeal an FFC?
It is. And you can do regular oatmeal, steel cut oats, any of those things. Yeah. Any of the oatmeal based products.
Yeah, I
If
used
you
to eat
have
a lot of
something-
steel cut oats.
Yeah, if
So
you have
good.
something that's more ready-made, I would just turn it around and look at the label. You know what I mean? Like sometimes those get a little light, but like all regular oatmeal has plenty of protein and fiber. So they're all good. And then alcohol, I would say I will look this up to answer specifically, but like I would guess she's about the same as Autumn, which is a couple times a week, and maybe have a cocktail, and you're going to want to have a lot of water with it, and you'll want to have something that's not sugary. We've talked a few times on here about just making a margarita the straight margarita way, where you just have a shot of tequila, well, 2 shots of tequila, a shot of Grand Marnier, and then a shot of lime. I think that's right. Or it's a 3-2-1, and that makes 2 drinks. So it's 1.5 ounces, 3/4 ounce, 1/2 ounce. But that makes a really great cocktail because Grand Marnier has a little bit of sweetness to it, and you still get that tequila flavor, but without the mix, right? And we haven't really touched on this, but we'll touch on some of this next week too, about the sugar, like getting things that are sugar-free or light on sugar, or sugar replacements, sugar alcohol, artificial sugars. Staying away from those on no matter what program you're on is always a good idea, because those can cause digestive issues. People have migraine, they're migraine triggers for some people. They're just not great. So keep it real. It's the best option. And so, yeah, is that good, Sally? I think, as we like, if you have BOD and body or just BOD, there are so many recipes now that we have access to. So either of those locations are going to give you a lot of good ideas for things with FFCs. And so at the bottom of the recipes in the mindset menu or in the To Be Mindset for Body, it's going to say, this is good for lunch, plus add a salad, or this is good for dinner, or this is a great breakfast. And it will give you specifications on how to make that part of your meal plan. And then there are meal plans on Body that they make every week. So you could just follow one of those and make the recipes on there. So I think I'll switch to Portion Fix, but first if there's any questions on To Be Mindset. We could probably cover this for lots of time. And we can certainly go over it again another week too. Okay. We'll get the dog taken in. So one more thing before I move on totally to Portion Fix. Both things have food lists, right? And the food lists are right here in your BOD app. And you can so if you're using the tracking in your BOD app, you can just click into the tracking, and then there's a little blue link to food lists. So anytime you're anywhere, you can just flip that open, scroll through it, make sure that it's a food that works in your plan, especially if you're like out to eat or at the grocery store or need something.
Can you say that again? Because I
Yeah.
know I have found it, and I'm sitting here looking for
Yeah,
it while we're talking,
let's just
and
do
I
it
couldn't put my
together.
hands on it.
Yep. So if you go into your phone, so you'll go into this regular BOD app. Let's see here. Okay. And then we're going to go down here to tracking. Oops. I haven't tracked my workout yet. And then I'm really late on that some days. Okay. And then we're going to scroll down to the bottom of the tracking. Here, let's see if here we go. And there's a little black.
Found it.
Yep. And that's now mine's set up for Portion Fix. So it's gonna, there we go. It's gonna show me all the containers. But if you're set up for To Be Mindset, it'll be set for that too.
Just found it once, couldn't find it again.
Yeah, no, I know. And it's also here, if we share screen. It is also right here in the programs. Same way you get there, programs, and then you're going to go to the nutrition center. Whoops, stop moving around there. And then you can go to Be Mindset. And all of them are going to be in the resources. under food lists right here.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, the Portion Fix. So I am a fan of Portion Fix if you, I'm a fan of it for really any part of your journey. If you're in weight loss, if you're in maintenance, and especially if you are working to gain muscle. It's a macro-based program that gets you a little more specific on those macros so that if putting on muscle mass or being in maintenance and changing your body composition, okay, so losing body fat, gaining muscle, if those are your objectives, I think Portion Fix is a more detailed way to do that. It's like a more like specific plan so that you can hit those goals easier. 2B mindset is a little more loose in the percentage, right? Because it's a percentage of what's on your plate. It's not necessarily a percentage of the macro. And because you have so many options and accessories and different things you can add in that aren't necessarily calculated, it's just a little more loose, right? So now that's not to say like it's still a great plan for maintenance. But I would say if really putting on your muscle, like you want to change your body to have more muscle, I think I'd do Portion Fix during that time. I don't know if anybody else agrees with that, the coaches here, but that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Can you just help me with your language about putting on muscle versus, like, that's not my goal, but
Right.
being stronger and having more stamina, that is. So how do those two goals compare?
Yeah, so you can do that in weight loss mode, in maintenance mode. You can absolutely do those things because you're using the muscle fibers you currently have on your body. You're going to get stronger. You're cardiovascularly changing with any kind of cardio and endurance, right? So those are all good, either program, either way. Gaining muscle. So like if you've ever heard of someone getting a scan that shows their percentage of body fat, their percentage of muscle, percentage of bone, it goes through the whole thing, right? And you want to change your muscle to be a larger percentage. So you're actually going to add muscle on. It doesn't necessarily mean you're like bulking up like a bodybuilder. So I don't want to confuse it with that, but you're adding lean muscle mass. You're changing that percentage around where you have more muscle mass on your body. That requires more calories, but it also requires more protein, and Portion Fix is a more protein-based plan than 2B mindset. And as women, we have a harder time holding on to that muscle because of our hormones. So more protein can be a better option if trying to keep that muscle.
Thanks.
And I, if you get into different phases, like we haven't really talked about this yet, but when your goal is weight loss, you don't stay in weight loss mode until you get to that goal if it's taking longer than 3 months. Because then your body adapts to that metabolic change. You want to go into weight loss mode for a period of time, come back to a maintenance, hold everything, let your body, rethink about how things are going, everything's settled in, and then go back into a weight loss mode again. So you could change, right? You could do, like, there's been times where I'll do 2B mindset. Maybe I want to lose a few pounds, or maybe I'm in maintenance and I'm like, I just kind of want to eat more freely. I don't want to, do some of my, portions and stuff. I want to eat more freely. I'm just going to eat a lot of vegetables. And so then, you can do in maintenance, but then if I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a really hard program like Body Beast, and I want to really put on some muscle, then I go back to Portion Fix. Does that make sense? I know it's a lot, and I'm probably making it sound more complicated than it is, but you kind of want to match up your goals. Thank you, Jess. Love you. So Portion Fix. Like I just said, it's super important to know that goal, right? So weight loss is a totally different calorie bracket that you're following than if you're in maintenance in Portion Fix. And sometimes it might feel like I'm the type of coach that if somebody tells me you can only eat this, then I'm going to be like, oh my God, that's not enough food. So I like the volume eating, but I also do portion fix a lot. So I like to eat in the tweener, right? So maybe for weight loss, it told you it was A and maintenance is C. I like to stay in that B, I know I can stick to it then because I feel like I'm getting enough calories, but my weight loss is going to be slower. Okay. So I don't want you to feel like if when you pick your plan and it says A is weight loss and like that's such a hard and fast rule, because you really have to go off your activity level, your how you are with food, right? Are you going to stick to the plan? Because sticking to the plan is very important. Because anytime you're going off of it, you're changing those macros and you're changing the calories you're getting in. And it's one of those plans where you really want to be as, close to on track to really see the results. Does that make sense? It's just something I was going to say about that. Now I'm lost it. Oh yeah. So when you're picking your plan, you have to know like how active you are, right? If you're doing 30-minute workouts or less, or I should say 30-minute workouts, then you are going to be in the moderately challenging. So we just had a program come out that was 20 minutes with Jennifer Jacobs, job 1. And it's because it's not 30 minutes, it's considered that you're on no workout calculation. So there's a no workout calculation, a moderately challenging calculation, and an extremely challenging calculation. Okay, so the extremely challenging is 45 minutes of working out. So you have to figure out what your workouts are. And if you add in things like if you're adding in running, or if you add in cycling, or if you're doing 75 hard, that's going to definitely be more than 45 minutes a day. So you have to figure out those things and then calculate to that plan. So no matter how, if the portion fix is your first time, no matter how you were eating before, you may have been eating too little, and this is going to feel like a lot of food. And you may have been eating different things, right? More calorie dense foods. This is going to feel like a lot of food because it may look deceiving in those little tiny containers. But when you start putting those things on the plate multiple times a day, there is a lot of volume of food, but a lot of the foods aren't high in calories. So you aren't having as many like fat dense foods, like, you have a little bit of avocado and oils and seeds. You don't have entire avocados, right? It's a quarter of an avocado. So, you have a different calorie density, but the foods on Autumn's list. So Autumn's even more of a purist when it comes to real food. So that you'll see, if you're following Portion Fix, you'll see in some of the groups, people will be like, okay, how do I containerize this? And you're like, that's not a real food. So it's not really containerized. So the best bet really is to get that real food and fit it to a container, right? So carrots go in the green, and there's some nuances. Pumpkin puree is a purple because of calories versus cubed pumpkin is a green. So they're just different calorie amounts. It's not really that the pureed pumpkin has more sugar and is a fruit all of a sudden. Same with salsa or spaghetti sauce. Store-bought tend to have sugar added, so they get counted in a purple container. But if you've made pico de gallo or you've made your spaghetti sauce and there isn't sugar added, then you can put that in a green. It's like a half cup is a green. So there's some nuances in there, but in general, it's all about the actual real food and making recipes out of that. So again, there's tons and tons and tons of recipes. I have so many favorites from Fixate. I just made the Instant Pot Jambalaya the other night, and it's so good. And I made the Enchiladas Verdes last week too. That one's really tasty. So always an option. Because I know one of the hardest things I think for people that I found is that they have these recipes that they like, and they're like, how do I containerize those? And it's like, let's just find a Fixate recipe that you like and work off that. Eventually you're going to get good and you're going to get used to the system, and you might be able to modify this recipe a little bit to fit in the containers, and you'll get better at realizing what it's like. But to start, I always recommend just fill those containers with the ingredients, right? Have some broccoli, some chicken, some brown rice or whatever. Boom, you've got a meal. Fits in the containers, easy breezy. Then move towards some recipes from Fixate so that you know the container counts. All the recipes have the container counts, and it makes it much simpler. And then once you have adjusted to what this is like, you know, knowing your container counts, knowing what colors things fit in, then you can start going to your recipes and seeing how they fit in. So,
Do any of the Fixate recipes work with To Be Mindset?
I would say yes, Fixate works great to Tubi. Tubi does not work great to Fixate. So because it'll be really clear on Fixate if it's a protein, carb, or veggie. Because everything's like super specific there. So they'll be really clear. And then you can kind of fit in. It also gives like a serving size, so you can decide how that fits in to your percentages. Yeah.
I mean, Bev shared the meal plans, menu plans, and, you know, I didn't follow it for a week, but I made several things off of it. And every one of them had what it would be on both programs.
It does. Yeah. On the Fixate recipes, it does. On the To Be Mindset recipes, it doesn't say anything about Fixate. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of what I feel like is a lot of the 2Bs have higher amounts of yellows and blues and teaspoons.
Well, and they have things that Autumn wouldn't consider food.
Yeah, they do. They do. They do.
Like
They do
like a
have
low
that.
fat cream cheese. Autumn wouldn't put that in a recipe. You know, I mean, she'd find something else to put in there.
Yeah,
most
that's
of the
true.
time.
Although,
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying in general,
yeah,
you might have something.
yeah, but no, like some of the more processed items,
Right,
definitely.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not to say the Tubi's like bad. It's just they're different. They come from different places. Like Portion Fix really is, and I think that's probably why I use it a little more. Is when I was in my weight loss journey pre Beachbody, I decided to make everything from scratch. And Autumn's all about making things from scratch. Alana is all about making things that fit in your plan. And that could be already, you know, having some things that are already partly made or buying pre-made, which, you know, is great to have both those things because we all have different lifestyles.
My former weight loss experience has been with Weight Watchers, and 2B seems very
Fits in very well.
A lot of it feels very familiar in the
Yes.
similarities.
I've also heard that Noom is very similar to 2B. A lot of the mindset stuff, a lot of things that we talk about in here are similar things to what I've heard from that too. Okay, let me see. Was there anything else? Okay, I think I covered my things. Does anybody have any questions about Portion Fix or how that all works? All right. Okay, everybody raise your hand at once. No, I'm just so then if we don't, or is there any questions about anything? Oh, do you have a question, Jess? Oh, you're just raising your hand to be snarky. Does anybody have any questions about any of the plans that we want to go over? So then normally on the call, we move to food labels. Like if people want to talk about different labels they found during the week, and it looks like Sue has one. So next week, next week is going to be all food labels. So we'll go through like what we're looking for, how to look for it, reading the ingredients, all of that kind of good information. All right, Sue.
Okay, so this, have you guys seen it?
I have.
It is 0 sugar. Chobani.
Buzzword.
Yes, I know. This is toasted coconut vanilla. All right, so it's 60 calories for one container, 0 fat, 5 grams of carbs, no fiber. no sugar, no added sugar, protein 11 grams. So
Yeah. So what's the ingredients? Why don't you
Exactly.
read how they're making it?
that's
taste
going, yep.
Yeah.
Get to that. So that's what I want to know, because you know me, like if I can eat things that has no sugar in it, I'm better off. Okay, so your ingredients is unfiltered non-fat milk, water, skim milk, allulose,
Mhm.
vanilla extract, natural flavors, tapioca flour, citrus fiber, I don't even know how to say that, GUAR gum,
Oh, guar. Yeah. Guar
guar
gum.
gum, okay, sea salt, stevia leaf extract, monk fruit extract, citric acid, enzymes, and cultures.
Okay. So who can point out the 3 sugars?
You got 3 of them? So I got stevia leaf
Yep.
and then the monk fruit.
Yep.
So what's the third one?
It's
Allulose.
earlier. Yeah. It's the OUOSE. OSE.
Wait, where is that?
It was in-
Allulose. I
it
think it
was-
was like your second or
Allulose?
third.
Yeah, it was like earlier in the whole thing.
Yes,
So
yes, right after
there's a
milk.
lot of sugar in that.
Yeah. So an allulose is an artificial sugar.
Right.
I don't know how it compares to some of the other artificials because I think it's kind of newer. Or
Yeah.
maybe the name's
Well,
newer.
So isn't there
Yeah.
sugar in skim milk as well? So how can they make this with making it with skim milk and then saying it's 0 sugar?
Well, I'm sure they've just depleted that skim milk of anything.
Right.
That's why there's so few carbs too, because milk is a carb essentially.
And there's no fat. So yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So they had to add the sweetener and the salt because
the salt, right?
if they took the fat out, there has to be something, or you're not going to come back for more.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, if you guys haven't tried it, it's actually quite tasty. So do you think this is a good, I mean, do you think
Well,
those are bad?
So here's how I feel about it. Cause I usually do Too Good,
Mhm.
the stevia leaf, sweetener, but I find when I have it, then I've had something sugary, which also then tells my brain I'm having sugary stuff, right? Even though I'm not consuming sugar, I'm feeling like I've had sugar. And then if I do it too often, I keep wanting more sugar. So I, during the reset, when we did the yogurt with the maple syrup, I really enjoyed that a lot. And so I also still do that because I usually pick, well, I'll usually get 2% Faji. But I've also gone up to 5% before because I just feel totally satisfied with it. And I'm not scared of having a little fat. So, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where you kind of, it's like partly like that's only 60 calories. It's not going to last you very long.
Mm-mm.
And you're going to have had something sugary. So I think it really depends on how you feel about it. If you're noticing a trend, like if you then want more sugar because you've had it later in the day or after, or you're feeling hungrier.
Yeah, I got it because I thought it might be like a sweet snack that would help curb other things. So that's why I got
But
it.
it'd probably be better to have fruit.
Yeah, agreed.
Because then you get the fiber and you get the sweetness. It's funny because I left the house hungry today and I had to go do a return at Whole Foods and I grabbed blueberries and raspberries and just ate them in the car on the way to go get Luke because I know I'm safe with those, right? Even if I've had some fruit this morning, I had a whole banana. So that was 2 purples. And so I'm like, you know what? This is better than something else I could have picked.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that would totally like spike my desire because allulose is actually, it's a sugar alcohol. That's
right. I knew I looked it up. It was something.
Yeah. OSE is sugar alcohol.
Okay.
As soon as you see that, sugar alcohol.
Yeah.
And then, I mean,
which can have side note, can have an effect on your digestive health.
Right.
Or trigger.
Yes, actually, so that is one of the ones that has been shown too, if consumed in large amounts, has caused issues with digestive issues, IBS, whatever. Like it's a trigger. It's definitely a trigger. So, but then the stevia and then the monk fruit. I mean, like stand on my soapbox about stevia alone. It is
Right.
like incredibly sweet and just like makes your mouth just go, wah! I mean, you barely need any to have that effect. That's why 1 teaspoon equates to 1 cup of sugar if you're, using actual stevia leaf. And so chances are they're probably also using like not the best sourced stevia. It's probably, pretty, but I would, without it having the fat to counteract, I don't even think that there's enough protein that wouldn't cause me to then need something shortly after eating that. Just knowing how my body reacts sugar wise, it's like I would be within 30 minutes to an hour, I would be needing something else.
Mhm.
For
Well, I
sure.
will let you know.
Yeah. See how it works for
Haven't
you.
had it yet.
I know sometimes we come off where we're like, oh my God, that's
I
bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's- No, try it. It's like the whole Alana thing, right? Try it, track it and see. This is all learning. You are learning how you have things. And that's what the whole autumn program coming up is about, right? You're learning what reacts best with your body. And it might not be the same as my body.
Right. Well, that's all I have. I don't know if anybody else has another one.
Anybody else bring any labels?
I can go get my corn tortilla chips that I just had.
Oh, sure. Let's see them.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah, I want to see what these Kettle tortilla chips are. I'm intrigued. But I've been consuming my sweetener lately. I always have my liquid organic stevia. Sorry, I'll get it right one of these days. But I've been using that erythritol. How do you say that one?
Oh yeah, erythritol.
Yeah,
Erythritol.
sounds toxic, but I
doesn't sound-
like it. To be honest, it makes me a little gassy, which is disgusting. And I forgot you were recording this, but yeah, it's natural.
Did you just say it makes you gassy?
No, I
I
didn't.
thought you said it makes me gassy.
Yes, she
No, I
did.
totally
She did.
did.
She's lying. to
Okay,
you
well
right
that
now.
actually, yes, it's a
That's
sugar
a sign.
alcohol. That's exactly allulose, erythritol.
Does that make you
Same
gassy?
thing.
We're gonna have Autumn call you.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Let us know. Let us know if George cannot be in the room with you after you have.
Okay,
this.
I will let you know. But
But so it's
what
a sugar
would you do?
alcohol.
That's what else I want to know.
Is it
Yeah.
really just a digestive issue that it could cause? Is it bad for you? Like, just tell me straight
Well,
up.
I think
Maybe
anytime you're adding sugary, you want more sugary. So by you adding these sugars, even though they're not caloric, it's still telling your brain you want more sugar.
Yeah.
And
So-
it's still
I may
it's
as
still
well just put it back
triggering
on.
that it triggers the need for something else other than
Yeah.
sweetness. I mean, you're gonna fill it in with something carby, fatty. Usually we don't go for protein, even though that helps counteract it
Right.
some. Or yeah, pretty much.
I think it's
carby, fatty.
going to make your cravings worse.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. And no artificial sweetener is really fantastic for you. Just
Okay.
real. So, but yeah. Okay. I didn't mean to be a downer.
I asked.
Bag of erythritol.
I know, that's what I mean. Like sometimes people ask questions and I'm like, I'm not
I know,
coming
I
at
feel
you.
so bad.
I'm just
Right.
saying,
Like-
I'm just saying my opinion.
I feel so bad. I do, but I actually have a big bag of it because I bought it before I really realized it was years ago before I realized what it was and everything. And my father is diabetic and he needed to have something, and I was just like, oh yeah, I'll just use this. And I think we just threw it away. I mean, it was like a gigantic bag and I'm like, we're never
Yeah.
gonna use this. So, yeah. But okay, so these are not like, you would think these are like perfectly awesome.
Right? They look
Organic,
pretty, organic. Blue corn, I'm
Simply-
sure has amazing amounts of nutrients or something.
Gluten
Yeah,
free.
you would think. Yeah. Okay, so ingredients are organic blue corn flour, organic vegetable oil, which is organic sunflower oil and or organic safflower oil, and sea salt. the normal 28 grams that's pretty much all chips, or 28 grams, 140 calories, 6 grams of fat, 18 grams of carbs, and only 2 grams of dietary fiber and 2 grams.
But that's still an FFC technically, 2
Yeah.
to 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they have these, and then they have yellow ones. I prefer the flavor of the blue corn chips over the yellow ones.
Mhm.
But yeah, so these are my go-tos. And like a cup of salsa is a lot. This just
Right.
in. Because Scott and I both had a portion of these, and yes, I actually portioned them out, because otherwise this bag would be empty.
Right.
Being
There's
real.
there's a tip. Take your portion, put it in the bowl, put the bag away.
Yep, exactly. And then I had the salsa already portioned out. I had a cup of salsa in there, and we ate it, we ate that together. So, but yeah.
That's my trick with chips and salsa too, because I'm not shy to chips and salsa. I load that chip up with so much
Yes.
salsa, and that's my filler, right?
Yep. Yes. The chip is just the delivery system for the
carrier.
salsa.
Exactly. Exactly. Sometimes it happens with the guacamole though too.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Interesting. I actually think I should start eating the chips instead of the yogurt, because that sounds so much better with salsa.
It's funny, this morning and yesterday morning, I had leftovers, which were a curried rice and chicken breast that I grilled. And that was very satisfying. And I was kind of like, I really need to do this more often. You don't have to have breakfast food, right? So you kind of just need to have things that taste good and sound good and go with it.
See, I have to have breakfast food.
Do you really? I remember doing 80-day obsession and having chicken, broccoli, and sweet potatoes, or some kind of combination, whatever the containers were, every morning for breakfast. Because
that reminds me, we should talk about the different steps in Portion Fix too.
Yeah, because it was just easy, and I'm like, here we go. This is simple. I don't have to think in the morning.
I consider sweet potatoes to be a breakfast food.
I think so. There's lots of sweet potato hash, and there's a sweet potato egg skillet thing, or sheet pan one meal.
Yes. Every other day I have eggs and sweet potato.
Yeah.
Have you tried doing them in the air fryer?
I don't have an air fryer.
Well, when you get one, do in the air fryer, because they are so good. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ready to jump on the air fryer train yet either, but I know
two nutrition people don't have air fryers.
I know. I hear that you can do the same thing in a convection oven, and my oven does do that.
Yeah. You can
don't do it.
But it's just kind of cool. And I highly encourage you to get the Ninja with the 2 baskets, so you can do 2 different things at the same time, like your fish in one and your something else in the other.
We have the one that folds up. Oh, it's awesome.
I don't have that one. I have the Ninja with the 2 baskets.
Like, so on your counter, it just like folds up and looks like you have a stainless steel block on your counter.
Oh, nice. Okay, well that piques my interest.
You need to tell me about that. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you see this thing back here over my shoulder?
Is it the oven? Crock pot?
No. It is a 14 quart pressure cooker.
Pressure cooker.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. That thing moves around from that table to the laundry room to my counter. And it's done that for years now, because there's like nowhere to go with it. And I'm not gonna be walking it downstairs to my basement and carrying it all the way up. It's heavy. No.
It's your weight training for the day.
Yeah. No.
Oh yeah. So before we get off here, okay. So back on Portion Fix really quick. So there's a new pathway that was added, because there was previously Foundation Fix, which is just getting your containers in each day, right? Whatever order you want to do them in, however it works. Then there's Time Nutrition. That's where you're on a set type of container per meal, set meals around, they have workout blocks. So you're getting in certain nutrition before your workout, after your workout. And there's also a, what is it called? Not competition, carb cycling. So that's carb cycling is somewhat popularized because it's a quick way to lose some weight. It's not usually weight that stays off permanently. So it's good if you have an event. Like right now, if Jess and I wanted to start it up for the old Punta Cana here in 3 weeks, this would be a good time to do it. It's a lot of protein and veggies, and it just it's less carbs. So it takes some of that water out of your muscles, and you have less water weight. Or the last one now, this newly added last summer, is intermittent fasting. So Autumn has 2 plans where she's doing a 12-12 window or a 16-8 window. Obviously, you can do anything in between that 16-8 and 12-12. But it's still all about getting good nutrition, same amount of calories, and how you break that into 3 meals in that shorter window. Or if you're in a 12-12, honestly, that's really almost regular portion fix, because if you stop eating after dinner, you'll have 12 hours. But so those are the pathways you can go. And so that's another decision you'll want to make if you're using portion fix. And so just something we can talk about in the future too, if people have questions about how that works and which one would be better. They all have
2 quick questions. So
Yeah.
one is, what do you think the meal planning, or like how we're going to portion out our foods for gut protocol?
Oh, I have no idea.
Nobody knows, right? So is
It's going to be still
containers or what?
portion fix-ish. It's supposed to be like a supplement to portion fix.
That's what I'm thinking. That
Yeah.
we're going to use containers somehow, some way.
It's my guess.
Yes, me too. And then which bathing suit are you going to go with?
I don't know, because there's things about all 3 of them I like, so I don't know. I got to add up which one's winning on my social media.
I think you should keep them all. I mean, why not? Right? You can wear them when you go.
I do like that idea. I am predisposed to keeping things. So
yeah, you can wear them over the summer. Just throw a pair of shorts on them, and when you're going on the board and stuff. So who cares?
There you go. You're right.
I hate making choices, because you'll get down there and be like, if only I had that.
Right. I
left.
should have brought the other one.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, with everybody's voting activity, I need to put up my evening wear too, because I have no idea what I'm doing for that yet. So that'll be next week's voting.
There you go. I want to know shoes too. I'm always curious.
It's going to be mostly flip-flops, because the 2 Beachbody parties are on the beach.
Oh, they are. Okay.
They say in the app that flip-flops highly recommended.
Oh,
yeah.
I need to check the agenda, because I'm like, there's parties. I thought the whole thing was a party.
No, yeah, there's the welcome party and the farewell party. We'll talk. We'll have a Zoom, just all of us.
Sally was saying that she's struggling to find the recipes on the app.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Let's go into it. Okay, so you're on your phone, right, Sally?
Yeah, I mean, it's likely a personal problem. If the rest of you figure it
so
out,
this is
I'll
how
call Bev later.
Yeah, there's 2 ways I find things faster, right? Number 1, I always go into the programs button first, because that's going to give you your search bar up at the top. And it's going to give you direct access to that nutrition center that we saw in when I had the screen share. So if, like, let's say you're like, I heard about some kind of jambalaya, then you just type that right up in the search bar. If you can spell it, because I never remember how to spell it. Oh, Apple spelled it for me. Hit search, and then it's going to come up in the recipes, and then you can just go right to that card and or video. Okay, so now the other way, and I use the search most, if you go to the nutrition center, you're going to scroll over until you find Fixate or Mindset Menu. Those are both the locations for recipes. So let's go into Mindset Menu. They're going to be broken down. So if you go to the recipe cards, they're broken down usually by meal, like breakfast, lunch, entrees, snacks. There might be a soups, might be a dressings. There'll be categories. So then you have to kind of scroll through. So the other thing I like to do too, let's say I have ground turkey and I need to figure out a recipe. I'll go back up to that search bar and I'll type in ground turkey and it'll give me all the recipes that have ground turkey in it. Did you
Okay.
find it on your phone?
Yeah, recipe cards, found that for the first time.
Perfect. Yeah. And so these are all PDFs. So if you have favorites, I'd save them somewhere. You know what I mean? That's the easiest way. Then you don't have to or if you know the name, right? Then you can just use the search key and then it's always there. These Wonder Whips that she makes like are amazing. So
I used to
Wonder-
have, Wonder Whips. They're Greek yogurt.
and she puts some
And-
extracts and some sweetener
Yes.
in it and like
Yes.
maybe some accessories of a little bit of fruit or chocolate
Right.
chips or
When I used to, I don't eat a whole lot of dairy now, but when I ate Greek yogurt, I would get the Greek yogurt. I would either get faya or what did you call it? It's
I called it
F-A-G-E.
Faji, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it is
So
fun.
I would get
I don't remember.
faya. I would get the at least 2%. I wouldn't get 0% because I still wanted to, the 0% is fine. But so I would get the faya or I would get the Greek yogurt from Aldi because it tastes very similar to faya. I was never into Oikos or Chobani or those other ones because they were very sour, like
Yeah.
very sour.
But, yeah, the Faji
I'm
has
just
like a-
cheap. I
has a
do the
great
Aldi
mouth
Greek
taste.
yogurt because it's cheap.
Oh, well, yeah. And it also tastes like the faya. I mean, it really does. And it's really, the flavor's really good, but yeah. So I would get that and then I would do extracts. And if I wanted to do sweetener, so that was the other reason why I would get like the 2% fat because I would use the sweet leaf stevia drops that have extract flavoring in them. So like they have a chocolate one and they have a toffee one and other things like that. And I would do just a couple drops of that and mix that into the Greek yogurt. And since it had the fat and the protein, I would not like them be like, I need to have something else. So, and I also wasn't adding like a half a teaspoon of stevia or something where I don't even think that would be pleasant. I think that would be an awful
It
flavor.
would be a lot.
It would be like, I don't even know. It just would be too much. But yeah, so that was a go-to. Or I would take like half of a scoop of Shakeology into the Greek yogurt. Oh, yeah, it was really good too.
Yeah.
Really
And
good.
you can use those extracts in your Shakeology or just a plain extract without sweetener in it in your Shakeologies to change up different flavors. So it's something like if there's one you really like, you can kind of use it in multiple places.
Right. Right.
And I mean, I consider myself a bit of a foodie and I make a lot of food from scratch and complicated foods. And the Fixate recipes for me have been really, really delicious. Like I just find them really satisfying and really good. And I've been really impressed. I haven't done as many To Be Mindset, but I do have an Instant Pot Sloppy Joe's on my list that I saw the other day. That's a new one. So. Good. All right. Well, we're already past 6. Is there any other questions? I don't want to cut anybody off if we're good. All
I'm
right.
gonna hang up and eat.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
It's 8 o'clock here.
Yeah, it's 8
gonna
o'clock
eat.
here and yeah, dinner got started late. Normally I'm cooking during this time, right?
Wait, what's today's? Oh, it's still February. So tomorrow is Camo Day for
Yes,
Funky
Camo Day.
Friday.
Yes.
Yay.
March 6th is our next meal prep class. So that's Sunday, March 6th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So whatever time zone you're in.
I'm really excited about those muffins now.
I am too. I think they're going to be good. So they're spinach muffins and they're bright green, but I think they're going to taste amazing because
Yeah, they have applesauce in them.
yeah, it's applesauce, or if you want smashed
Yeah.
bananas instead of the applesauce, either way. And
Oh,
then
no,
I'm really excited
applesauce.
about the peanut chicken with soba noodles. And then the baked or the barbecued cauliflower salad also looks amazing.
Yes.
I might have to make it all this weekend and just let you guys know what it's
Why
like.
don't you? What, and take some
So-
pictures and send it
Yeah.
out.
I will, because you know what? It's the first time all three of them have no meat in them.
Oh, well, the peanut chicken is.
Well, that one, okay.
You
but I
can
can-
sub.
You could put
you can
tofu
sub
in
something
place
in
of the
there.
chicken.
Yeah.
No, I
Or-
don't
Yeah.
like,
Or
tempeh.
tempeh. Tempeh.
Yeah.
I won't eat tofu. No, I can't stand it. It grosses me out.
What about tempeh?
I honestly haven't tried it. so
Or
I
just
don't
skip
know.
it and put more veggies in it with your
I
edamame.
would skip it and put vegetables. Mhm.
You
Yeah,
could totally do
so-
that.
So maybe I'll make it all this weekend.
Sounds good.
Let y'all know. So,
And then next call, we will talk about all about labels, what to look for, how to read them, making sure you're turning that box around. Don't fall for the stuff on the front.
Right, exactly. That is very true.
All right, you guys. Well, it's good to
Okay.
see you on here. I'll put the recording in the group if anybody needs it, and we'll see y'all later.
bye guys. Thanks.
Have a good
Tammy.
night.
Bye.
Thank you.